Hello everyone. Today we're going to be working on disassembling our fuel system. So to get started, you're going to need to have a 10 millimeter socket. You're going to need a 5/16 socket, and you're going to need a needle nose pliers. So the first thing that we're going to do is, using the socket, we are going to remove the trim panel. So here we have our 5/16. We're going to slowly take out our socket, screws in here, and once it's loose enough, you can just kind of take it out with your fingers if you'd like. So again, on the side over here with the throttle, it's going to be a 5/16. So now you've gotten your 3 5/16 screws out and you're ready to roll with taking this trim panel off. But first you're going to notice that there's a little black stop on your throttle. It's going to be helpful that you take that off, or else you're going to really struggle with removing your trim panel. So pretty easy, just pull it off like that. Now we take off our trim panel very carefully, obviously, because it's just plastic. But then you'll notice that you have two little linkages or wires that are connecting the module to the trim panel. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to stop and take a quick picture with your phone to remember where the black module and where the red module are located, just like that. You're going to want to get in the habit of taking lots of pictures and labeling them so that when you put your engine back together in a couple weeks or months or however long you decide to take on this, remember where everything goes. So again, you're just going to very calmly remove the red linkage. You're going to do the same with the black. You might need to use a needle nose pliers to remove them, but for me they came out pretty easily. So there you have it. Your trim panel is now removed. So after you take your trim panel apart, it's going to be important again to have a Ziploc baggie with trim panel written on it. So you can see I conveniently have trim panel written on here already. You'll want to put your 3 5/16 screws in here along with your throttle stop in there, and put that in the Ziploc baggie so that when it's time to reassemble, you know where everything goes, and you can put that right next to your trim panel and have it in your locker so that it's all ready to go when it comes time to putting this bad boy back together. So now you've taken your trim panel off, it's going to be time to move on to the next step, which is going to be to close off the fuel line hose. So what you're going to need for this is just your needle nose pliers. We'll head over this way. So before you get started with removing your fuel line hose, what you're going to want to do is make sure that your gasoline fuel line is on the off position. So if we go back to our trim panel, we can see that over here, the on position is over to the right, and the off position is down towards the bottom. So we want to make sure that our red lever is positioned downward, so it's off, and in our case it is already, so that's great. So just verify that on your engine before you move forward. We don't want any fuel flying anywhere. So we have our clamp over here. What we're going to want to do is come up underneath, grab the clamp with our needle nose pliers, and basically just shimmy it up the fuel line like so. We've experienced that this fuel line is going to take a lot of horsepower to remove, so get your muscles ready and just pull it up like that. It's going to take quite a few pushes probably, but there you have it. The fuel line is removed. Again, you might have a little bit of fuel drain out. That's completely okay, but you don't want to have it leaking out, and that's again why we ensure that the hose is in the off position before we remove it. Okay. So now we have successfully taken off our trim panel. We have successfully taken off our hose. Our last step is going to be to remove the fuel tank, and that will complete the video. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take off the screws surrounding the fuel tank. So over here, we have our couple of screws. You're just going to want to take those out. You're going to be using your 10 mil on this. So there's one of them. And there's the other one. So perfect. So you have both of those out, and there's going to be a couple more on this side as well. Again, these are going to require 10 mils, so you just remove those pretty easy. Okay. And similar to what we did with the trim panel, you're going to want to find a Ziploc baggie. Similar to what we did with the trim panel, you're going to want to find a Ziploc baggie. Maybe write down fuel tank. And then voila, you can put your 4 screws into the baggie so you know exactly where they go on your engine. Okay. Again, just because I like to get in the habit of taking pictures, I'm going to take a picture of what it looks like after doing this module. Okay. And basically what you're going to do is slowly lift up, and then you have successfully removed your fuel system. So you have your fuel tank, and you have your fuel hose removed, and you also have your trim panel removed. So after this video and after this module, you should be at this step. Your engine should look similar to this, and then we will move on to the next module once you have completed these steps. One thing that you're also going to want to do before you move on to the next step is you're going to want to drain your fuel from your fuel tank. So what you're going to do here first is you're going to want to make sure that you have it in the on position now. So it was off, and now I'm switching it back to on. And then you're basically just going to drain in your oil or your fuel just like this. Okay, you're just going to wait for it. It's going to take a little while. And then when you're completed with all of your draining, what you'll do is you'll just turn it back to the off position, and then you're officially done with this step of the disassembly process.